so many flubs and fuck ups that were there, but nobody cared then, and I didn't care listening. And then I realized
different in the jam
the band
than what you normally get. Trey veered from what he normally played, which
I love this song, and I love hearing it in this incarnation of it, this version of it.
Welcome back to Wook Plus. I am Weekend Wook, joined by Kev the Great Went for part 2 of our Spectrum recap. This is fun, man. It's a lot of Phish. To do 3 Wook clubs in 2 days it's a lot of, even for me. I'm like, oh, there's a lot of Phish.
it's like that thing on Christmas Eve, the Italian fish dinner.
It's
like 7 courses.
It's like what's that restaurant? Red Lobster, like all you can eat fish buffet.
There you go. God.
By the way, never get fish in a buffet. That's a terrible way to be served fish. Anyway, this was good Phish. I thoroughly enjoyed listening to it. There were a couple points that I marked, like that I made note of, that I was just, just enjoying the shit out of listening to it. It wasn't even like I thought it was the best playing or mind blowing or anything. It was just like, man, I really like listening to this. But then at the end of, you know what it is? It's the thought of doing another show after these two that it's like, all right, that's a lot. Yeah. So what'd you think? Night 2, you still stand by what you said yesterday?
I would
better
put
than
it,
night 1.
I would put it in the top 5 shows of the fall '97 canon tour.
Wow. I'm not. I said that yesterday, and somebody gave me a little bit of flack on the comments, and I'm not sure enough to say something that bold at the moment. Right. So recency bias. I just listened to these 2 Spectrum shows, so they're very high in my mind, but I don't think I'm going to go and make that kind of a bold statement just yet.
Right. Well, we did the '97. You weren't part of it, but some other people who used to be on Wook plus Makita. We did the '97 rankings, and we listened to every '97 show, and then ranked them all. And I knew that I had this one up in my top 5, along with one of the nights of Hampton was up there. The Denver show with the Ghost Johnny Be Good.
Yep. I think I liked the peaks of this night better, but the second set of night 1, I think as like just a consistent like thing of music, I think I like a little bit more. But that's all personal taste. Let's get into this show because there's a lot of good shit to break down and look up. Punch opener. This was the first point I was like, man, I really like listening to Phish. I was just like, I'm having a good time. Strong open, right?
I told yesterday the story that I had taken a nap before the show, and then Punch is the perfect thing when boom, you're still a little groggy, and there they hit you with that, and it was off to the races.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot more sense now with your story. I was even like this morning because I started listening early, even before work, and I was like, oh man. And then it started playing. I was like, instantly woke up, a shot of energy. So it was like, whatever, 30 years later, I'm reliving your experience. I'm usually a big stand for My Soul. I don't know that this was a particularly great one, but it was clean and, it maybe was missing a little bit of something for me, but I think it got its job done and certainly isn't the thing you're talking about from these shows anyway. So.
Right. And good for them for the second song. It was a rocker. They were having fun. It was loose. And I think that set them up for what they did next, which, I mean, there's quite a few highlights coming up later, but this Drowned is a top tier Drowned.
Yeah. I don't love Mike. I once you got past the vocals into the jam was fantastic. And the song has a lot of energy. And I know this is like hallowed ground for people and people just love this song. Obviously I was really digging the jam. I thought the jam was fantastic. I liked the droning like siren like synthy sound with like the delicate super funk jam. That actually comes back a couple of times in this night. It was a very patient, funky night, which we were talking about that yesterday. What was it? Chalk Dust that they played at like Mach 20. So,
Yeah.
like, if you had to choose, it's not that I don't like that, but I 100% go for the patient funk every time. And I thought at the end of it too, the rhythmic modulation and the kind of like the slowdown was very tasty. I was like, oh, that's nice. You know?
I was a huge fan. I'm not a Who guy, so I'm always a little sus with the Who songs and that whole thing. But really, yeah, I felt like they broke ground with it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They were doing things that they hadn't done before, and it would be nice if Drown showed up more. I guess I think Atlantic City when we were there that night in
I
21
was
would
gonna say
look
I've caught a couple of them, so it's not out of rotation, but it's certainly not heavy rotation.
right. And
Um,
then we get another Mike song.
yeah, what the fuck? I'm gonna abstain from commenting on this. I think you know
It's a
what.
great little ditty. I love the lyric to it. Like we said yesterday with the bluegrass tunes, it's if it has the lyric, then it gets my stamp of approval
Yeah.
because it isn't about the jam or anything with it.
Gumbo. Fucking I love this gumbo. This is one of my go-to gumbos. And I had a thought, and the jam to me is the feeling you get, the warmth inside of you after you eat a nice warm bowl of gumbo. Right? Because normally I love one of the things I like most about gumbo is the the New Orleans, street band kind of sounding and Fish doing taking the breaks and doing all the
Yeah,
big things. This jam gets kind of, I don't want to say dark, but like it goes into like a different mode. And the best way I could describe it is it's just that warm feeling on your insides on like a cold day eating gumbo. And I was like, they fucking nailed it. I think this was one of their better, at least for me, one of my highlights. It's hard to pick a highlight, so I'll just say one of the highlights of the night for sure.
right. Well, part of the thing too with gumbo these days is they always have to do that ending bit with the
I like that
piano.
ending bit. Oh yeah, I like it though. The bigness, like the drums and stuff to
Right.
it.
This one, they just let it breathe. They let it go. They said, "Hey, let's see where it's going to take us." I really feel like this whole night was completely off the cuff. I don't think they walked in saying, "Hey, let's do Gumbo into 2001." It
I
just
think
completely
most nights
fit
are
in that
like
moment.
that though. I
I
think
don't
that's
believe that.
I do. We'll never know.
Well,
Well,
no,
when
because
we get to interview Trey, that'll be one of the
right,
first questions.
we're gonna find Trey at Mondegreen and do a guerrilla interview with him. Just show up with tea
Not
with a
even
camera.
recorded. No, I was gonna say not even recorded, just to settle arguments
Just
that you and I have had over the years.
no,
Yeah,
then we can have
great
different
gumbo
versions
though.
of what he said.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, the gumbo was fantastic. The transition into 2001, I'm loving that. That's just the 2001 was so big at this point too. It was
Yeah.
like super funk Space Jam vehicle. And where I said the one was one note in Mexico earlier that people were making fun of, I feel like this one had lots of different feelings within that basic funk four on the floor, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I like the groove better. I feel like this is one example where, well, not even one, but I feel like Fish has lost a little bit of the delicate, like nice, funky feel to it. It feels a little more sloggy when you listen to modern 2001s. It doesn't have that like crispy funk to it. I like the cool spacey sound effects and tones over it, and how patient it is. This is another one. I'm not even gonna recall the other ones. I'm just gonna keep saying this is another one where they were super patient and sitting in it. I thought this. I agree with you. I think the segue into it was sick. I thought the segue into Yam was sick too. That was like, oh yeah, that's awesome. Here
They
we
did. They
go.
nailed it. If you find the video on YouTube and watch it, you can see Trey count it down while they're in that
Oh,
little like
that's
bit at
cool.
the end
I
of
was just
2001.
listening, so it felt like omnipotent or whatever. Like it was just like it
Right.
just happened. You're like, whoa, that's
Right.
awesome.
And solid. You enjoy myself. I
Yeah, it
mean,
was rocking.
I don't think they broke any new ground with that, but after what they had just done, it was a great landing place. A great way to close the set out.
I love talking to. I have some buddies that like fish and enjoy it, but they're not like us, right? Like normies, as you might say. That like they might catch a show a year, right? They have like 6, 7 show stats. I love talking to them about it because I feel like when you see as many shows and like are listen as much as we do, you lose the like, you know, all
Wonder.
that is Yem, right? And
Right.
like he still, like one of my friends still has that, like when he hears it or caught his first one a couple years ago, it's just like that, like holy shit, you know, that experience. And you know, we're here like, oh yeah, it was okay, yeah, but I mean, like it's still fucking Yem, right? Sorry, that's an aside. It's just, you know, we lose perspective on some of those things, and some of these things we take for granted are still like absolutely insane.
I
You know,
got a weird stat of like 1 out of 3 shows I have a Yem. I've seen
yeah,
like that many of them, 30 some, almost 40 of them.
that's crazy though. That's way
So
more
go
than
to
you
3
probably were
shows with me.
supposed to.
Right. Go to 3 shows with me and you'll get your Yem. Well, the thing is I'm heavy stacked early. And
Early, yeah.
Yem was played like I saw Yem at every show for like 17 shows in a row that I saw.
Right.
From
See,
89 through
this is why us
92.
younger fans are bitter, because you had Yem stacked and I had Numberline stacked, and that's why I'm all angry all the time. Oh well. I thought that was a very, very solid first set. Hey, Drunk in Portugal. Awesome, Nomad. Welcome.
Nice. Yeah, and it was a good chance at the end to go hit the head because you knew the vocal jam was coming. Everybody was still hanging out thinking they were going to get another song or something.
You never miss a vocal jam.
Well, the
That's
Spectrum used to have a clock that everybody could see that was like
Yeah.
against the back, way up high. And sorry about that. You could so you knew when they came on and it was 8:02 that they would be done by 9:15. You know,
You know how
kind of.
else you could tell that? You know, watches. You don't strike me as a guy who wore a watch, though.
No, I always felt like I could ask somebody else what time it is. Why should I bother buying a watch and wearing it around?
I love that logic. All right, quick housekeeping. We are going to be back for a third book club. I know it's crazy. Tonight at 10 Eastern, 10 p.m. Right? Yeah, tonight. And we'll be listening to Charleston from 2010. My wife, Mrs. Wook's first show, was submitted by. Actually, wasn't submitted by my wife, but somebody in chat submitted it. We picked it on the wheel, so that'll be fun. Join us for that. And then tomorrow at 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific, we will be doing Wook Plus Live right here. And then Thursday, the Phish bracket will go live on Twitter, X, whatever the fuck it's called, at Wook Plus. Follow
And
us.
are we
if you
gonna do
haven't.
are we gonna do a bracket support, please?
Do you want to?
We can look at the matchups, say, hey, who's gonna come out of this?
I feel like we could. If we do bracket supports, we got to call up Chad, I think. You know,
Okay.
get him on it. Just, you know, if those of you who have been around the channel, hit the first like 30 videos we had where Chad doing bracket support.
Doing bracket support live.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm saying do one to open, and then maybe when we hit the 32 or something.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. I'm also kind of sick of talking to you guys this week. It's been like 4 shows in a row. No, I think that's a great idea, Kev. All right,
We're pushing through with your Phish content till Sphere.
By the way, the bracket looks fucking so sick. I almost am done with it. I was putting on finishing touches this morning while I was listening to this show, and I'm very excited about this. This is the first one I hand drew completely. I usually use a computer program to do them, and I basically drew this entire bracket. So hopefully everybody likes it. All right, set 2.
Picasso.
Yeah, hey, buddy. What do you think about this Bowie, Kev?
It's the greatest Bowie ever. It keeps pushing you right to the edge, pulling you back.
Yeah.
You know that 6 minutes of the intro. How many times does Fishman almost hit it, and then they pull back and they're like, "No, let's play with this just little ambient, weird space for a bit."
Yeah.
And then it takes off, and around the 18-minute mark, they start to go back towards. You think they might finish Bowie. And then they get like by 27, 26 minutes, it's so close to finishing Bowie. Trey's about to rip into the solo, and it's Possum.
That caught me off guard. I didn't see that coming, but I loved it. that intro, I think that alone is something that needs to be studied and admired and held on a pedestal. Just it's slower than slow build. It is like but it didn't lose your interest because they threw so much shit in there. They had what was it? Take Me Out to the Ball Game.
Right.
They had some of the secret language, the Simpsons. They had
Simpsons.
I thought I heard Elephant. We were just talking about Mancini, right?
Yeah.
A little bit of Elephant Walk or Trot or
Yeah,
whatever. In
Paige was
there.
all over that. Paige was like, "This is going to be my chance to just throw a couple things out there that I
Little
like."
teases and shit. Yeah, and I thought there was some foreshadowing too to the Hood because Phish has two really famous pickups, and one is the Bowie one, and one is the Hood. And he kept going to that high tom and like fucking on, and I was like, what? I almost thought for a second he was gonna do like a Hood like freak sneak attack, but man, that and then the jam was really good. This is the type of Bowie that reminds you why people complain about modern Bowies, right? Like, because you listen to modern Bowies, you're like, oh, that was really good. What are all these jaded ass vets complaining about? And then you listen to this, you're like, I get it. This is really, really good.
This is the best time for Bowies. This and 94. The 94 Bowies, there are a couple like 40-minute ones. But a really good vintage.
Right in my eardrums. Yeah, I agree. I think my favorite, and this is a weird thing to say, but this jam, this Spectrum 97 jam, as it's listed on Live Phish, I just love it so much. It's not overly complicated. They're not doing any crazy rhythmic thing or melodic thing or anything, but I just love it. I was like really, really enjoying it. This was the third or fourth time where I just like smiled and listened, and I was just like, this is fucking great.
It's very a couple nights later they did something that's become famous with the Tube Jam, which is basically the same thing. The things they've been exploring earlier in the first set and the beginning of the second set are this jam, and it's just like they picked up on one of the fun things and
they brought it back. It was like a recall.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I love it. It's one of those things for when I was first looking at it, since I've had the theory about they do like Nassau Jam, so they don't have to pay the royalties.
Right. Well, that's what I thought it was too until we were listening through, and I was like,
why are they doing Holdsworth like that?
That's exactly what I thought. I was like, why the fuck are they not paying them? Just give them the money. No, but then you listen, like, oh, that's a callback, and I don't know, I really, really dug it. Caspian was pretty good. I didn't mind it that much. I think I was just so
Prince
happy
Caspian.
at this point.
I've never had an issue. I don't know why I don't know why I got the whole fucker pants thing.
Yeah, I don't know either, but I'm not like gonna stand hard for it. But I'm also not gonna bitch about it. I think it's a perfectly mid Phish song, and I'm okay with it.
If we're gonna do a Christian rock number, I want that over Evolve or Ether Edge or whatever those songs are.
This is one of those songs that in person I enjoy a lot more than listening to like on the headphones or whatever, right? Like it has like a bigger, more kind of what was it? Wingsuit and More, and like these songs that like don't translate well to me on like recordings, but in the arena, like it hits and it feels like a certain way. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought Frankenstein. It's so funny because their two covers at the end of this show are, I think, two of the best covers that they do, and are just fucking such awesome choices to just rock out to and get through the show.
I wonder how much with Caspian, if you read the books, if you read the C.S. Lewis books, whether you like it more if you read the books or not.
I read all the book, the Lion Witch
in the Wardrobe,
the Lion Witch in the Wardrobe. I read those books. I didn't even make that connection. Is that what it's from?
Prince Caspian is one of the characters in the second book, I think.
Yeah, those books are like dripping of biblical.
Oh yeah, they're way. They're as bad as Thomas the Tank Engine with the whole Christian thing.
Yeah, I think Brian's on to something too. Is there's a lot of routine, boring versions, but yeah, there also have been some really great ones.
It has such great rock lines though, with like the stumps instead of feet, and he hits the chord. You know,
Yeah.
it has that big rock and roll feel, but it isn't a rocker number. It's more slow and patient.
Yeah, but when they come in back with the like almost yell singing, we're like, oh, I think that's more natural. I'm not gonna sing it, but I feel like that's more natural than like the forced versions at like the end of like what is it? Everything's right or whatever, or like
Right.
Let's Go,
Right.
where they like it's written in like a forced thing. I feel like that big moment at the end of Caspian is a natural escalation to that big moment, which I can appreciate.
And very
You know?
reminiscent of the waves and the ocean and the moving. I think patience would be patience and proficiency are the two words for this second set. Because they
Yeah.
let it go, but it never fell apart and got lost. Like if you go to the 12-9 simple, there are parts of it where you're like, come on, guys, find something. You know,
Yeah.
this one they had it the whole time. And the Frankenstein, at that point, they were just like playing with house money. Let's have fun with it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, yeah, no, exactly. Frankenstein was good. You have anything on that?
I love Frankenstein. I wish they would bring back non-keytar Frankensteins. Paige, just stay behind your keyboard and play.
I mean, they haven't done that many Frankensteins to have
Yeah, they
that.
do it once every 3 years now.
Right. So,
So
like, what the last two had keytars? I don't know. The keytar in Baker's was fucking so cool. But yeah, no, I
yeah,
agree. And then Hood with finally paying off the tease at the very beginning of this set. You got it. It delivered and full bliss
solid
happiness.
hood. Oh, I mean, I think you put a hairy hood somewhere, it does what it's supposed to do, which is
Yeah.
make everybody have a smile on their face.
Have you ever heard a bad hood? I couldn't think of one. Every single time I'm
Nah.
just like fucking awesome.
I can't say that I have.
Yeah.
There have been
Yeah.
there have been a couple times when I started thinking, how am I getting out of here? During it, I'll have those moments with it because I know it's closing the second set and I got 20 minutes before I'm going to have to be outside. You know?
I never understood that. I don't want to judge anybody. And I know everybody has like different things. And I know you were seeing like, 500 shows in a row or whatever, like but like if you're making the effort to go to see a concert, I never understood the people that are trying to beat traffic to get out. It's like, right? Like, just enjoy. I want to be the last person. I want to sit there until everybody's fucking walks out and
Oh, I
you're just
know.
sitting there with your crew. Oh, yeah, I know you've been with me. That's fine. I mean, to each their own. And then Crossroads. I think this song needs to come back and make a return. It's only
Yeah.
had 9 times played. Last was back in '98. It's for all intents and purposes retired, but fucking love the way they play it. I think it sounds so good.
I always wonder, like, how does Crossroads end up in Philly on a random Wednesday night? And of all the of all songs, sometimes when they do like rare covers, it's attached to a place or the
Yeah.
person was from there or something. But Crossroads, I mean, it was written by a guy from Mississippi or Alabama.
Alabama. Yeah. I don't know. They played it earlier that summer in Alpine and then later the year in MSG. So it wasn't completely a random at
Right.
that point, but the
It was
next
on the
year was it.
table, right? It was on the table to maybe become a big player, but they did it the 3 times and we're like, we're just gonna leave it there.
I could see it getting boring, right? Like it was fun to listen to because I don't listen to it a lot, but like I could see if that were like that's not
Every
like a
10 shows.
cross-eyed or
Right.
cities or something where it's a super interesting song. Like you have to keep it super rare, I think.
Yeah,
Uh,
you're probably right.
but I think it's right up there to me with like the Hendrix and Zeppelin songs, right? Like I think if they did it like that, like Isabel or something, where like they
Mhm.
popped it out like every like 3 or 4 years, I think it would fucking. I think people would like it, right?
Right.
Yeah. Oh well.
I want Highway to Hell to come back.
That'd be cool.
I'm
There's
an
a lot of
AC/DC
covers I
guy.
think they should bring back. It's hard
Yeah.
though, man. They got a huge fucking catalog, and they keep writing new songs. Like, right? Like we just had a whole slew of new songs come in this past year. Like some songs are gone forever. It's just the nature of it. But oh well. All right, guys. Well, that was Spectrum Night 2. We
You're never
appreciate you
getting your A
tuning in.
train.
You're never getting it. I feel like eventually you have to. That's at the top of too many people's lists. You know.
So weird to me.
You gotta blame Zissix for that. And most people wouldn't even know that it was their most played, not seen, if it wasn't for him. But all right, well, we'll see you guys later tonight. Appreciate it. Later.